Good morning. It's Thursday the 28th of May. It's just turned 6 o'clock in the morning. Thought I'd come down early today before work, open it up like I normally do, make sure the greenhouse's windows are open, and I'll stick the stuff out that I'm hardening off. But this morning I'll take you around and I'll show you how everything's getting on. Okay, so we start over this corner because we haven't actually been over here in a while. I put my beans in late last week. They were shooting up and then all of a sudden they've stopped. I think partly that has got to do with the infestation of black fly that I had. I gave them a spray with some soapy water and it seems to have cleared them, so hopefully they'll pick up again soon. These first 10 are called Tender Star. That's the variety I've got. The last two over here are Galaxy. They're doing a lot better. They're 3 or 4 times the size of the others at the moment, in terms of height at least anyway. But hopefully the others will pick up, so we'll see how we go with that. And then just behind the runners we've got my raspberry bush, which is putting out some new shoots at the moment. It's going a bit nuts. It's probably because it's been fed for the first time in quite a number of years. The apple trees are coming on nicely. I will thin these out this weekend, I think, because last year I ended up with minuscule little apples on one of them because I didn't thin them out enough. So we'll get to that this weekend. And here behind the trees is my half-filled pumpkin bed, which has some tomatoes hardening off at the end in there. So this will be the final growing positions for my pumpkins. I'm not sure how many I'm going to get in here. It's just over 3 metres long. I think it's 3.5 metres, this bed, by 1.5 wide. I was hoping that I could get at least 3, maybe 4 pumpkin plants in there, but we shall see how it goes. But as you can see, it's pretty low on compost at the moment. This is the last bed I have to fill, so I'm going to pick some more compost up this weekend and then get them planted at the beginning of next week, I think. Right, here's my garlic. Now, it was looking very healthy. It started to go brown. So this one is a hardneck because it's got scapes, I have learnt. But they started doing this funny thing where they're all splitting at the top, and the leaves are sort of coming out everywhere. But I'm not sure. Having never grown garlic before, everyone says when the first few leaves have browned, then that's it. You pull them. But to me, it's early to pull them. So let me know what you think. This is a hardneck one planted at the end of last October. And then this is a soft neck one, which again is going brown at the bottom. It's got a bit of rust on it. But the first few leaves again are going brown. So yes, please let me know if you think I should be pulling these or not. Okay, so what we have here is a bed that was full of white and red onions, and now it has 2 red onions remaining and the rest are white. That's because the red onions went to seed. They were a little small, so we used them as salad onions. They were very tasty. As you can see, there's only 2 left now and the rest are white. A couple of the white ones have gone to seed, but most of them are swelling up quite nicely, so with the white onions I'm pretty pleased. I do have some red onions grown from seed this year over the other side. I'll show you those in a moment. But these ones, again, these were planted in October last year. And then next to them we have my shallots, which I think are looking pretty okay. I'm excited to pull these ones. And then next to the shallots I stuffed in some leeks. This whole bed was leeks originally. Then I had an attack of brambles come up. So we don't eat many leeks anyway, and I was just growing them for a bit of fun. So I removed sort of half of the bed, dug it all up, and then replanted the baby leeks down here, and a few of them haven't grown very much, but I don't know, maybe 3/4 of them seem like they're doing okay at the moment. And then I have some pumpkins, some marrow and some squash. The pumpkins and the marrow are hardening off. The squash have hardened off and are desperate to go into bigger pots, which have now arrived. So I'll be doing that either this afternoon or at the weekend. There's my tomatoes hardening off. So I've got a few varieties of tomato. I have got the Sweet Million cherry tomato variety that I'm growing on Alan's recommendation last year. I remember him saying that they were some of the sweetest he tasted, so I thought I'd give them a go. Then I've got more than this in the greenhouse, but these are a little bit further on. These are a bush variety called Roma. I actually ordered these from Joe Mills to do his Grow With Me series, so I'm looking forward to doing them. He's just planted his out a while ago, last week, maybe the week before, so I'm a little bit behind with them. And I do have a couple more varieties in the greenhouse, which I'll show you in a moment. I have a tub of spring onions here. These seem to be going okay, actually. I just put a grid over the top of this, using my dibber, so we've got sort of, I can't remember how many I've got in there, quite a few anyway, as you can see. So these are worked out a little bit better than the ones I sowed in a row in my salad bed, but that might just be timings and temperatures. So I've got a small planter of mixed salad leaves, mixed lettuce here, and then this planter here has got just Lollo Rossa lettuce in there. Those were sown on the 14th of May, so they've not had very long, but they are coming through now. And then finally in this bit we have my cosmic purple carrots, which were sown on the 9th of April. This is the second batch of carrots that I have grown. I'm desperate to get in another batch. And then here we have my salad bed, which apart from one crop is pretty much just salad leaves. But I've got some spring onions, like I said. Not many of these germinated actually. I haven't thinned them out at all. What is there is what germinated. So yeah, that wasn't too successful. But as I said, the blue tub is a bit better, so we do have some spring onions coming. Then I've got 2 rows of beetroot, which I have thinned out. So I'm hoping that that's enough so that I don't end up with golf balls again like last year. But they look like they're coming on. Very few signs of any beet leaf minor. There are a couple of leaves that look like they might have been nibbled by something. So I will probably spray them with the neem oil on Terry's advice. So I'll do that. Then my spinach. We've had non-stop crops off this spinach. I pick it, we eat it, a couple of days later it's all back. So I actually picked this on Tuesday, and it's Thursday morning now, and it's already got lots of new leaves on it ready to go. And I am going to be sowing some more in the greenhouse this afternoon after work. So I've got some more to come on when these ones come out. And then the lettuce, I've got Little Gem here, which I'm picking the bottom leaves from, the outside leaves. And they are really, really crunchy. That's a really nice lettuce, that is. I'm really pleased with how these are coming on. And then again, another mixed row there, which actually are also lasting a bit better. Last year, whenever I picked the lettuce, by the time I got home it had gone limp, but this year they seem to be doing a little bit better. Then I've got some chard. We haven't used much of this yet, waiting for a few things to use it on, sort of grown it, because it's something to grow and everybody grows it, and then I'm thinking, oh, well, there's not much that we eat that I can use it in. I'm waiting to use it in a stir fry or something like that. So maybe I'll have to look up, see if I can find any more uses or ideas, because I don't want it going to waste, and it does look lovely. And then finally we have the sacrificial lamb, that is the broad beans. I know I sown these very, very late, but all the same, you can see they're not doing brilliantly, but they were absolutely covered in black fly. So as long as they're not attacking anything else, I'm happy. They did get my runner beans, as I said earlier on, a little bit, but it's not too bad over there. But here they were absolutely covered. So I'll rip them out. I'll leave them in for now, but I'll rip them out eventually, in a couple of weeks or so, and maybe plant something else that I've got going in the greenhouse. Okay, so these are the first batch of carrots that I started growing in the last week of March, I think 24th of March. I've got two varieties here. These are coming on quite nicely actually, and quite pleased with these. I've thinned them out, no signs of any damage, nothing like last year's carrots. So the two rows on the right are Nantes or Nantes 5. The row and the bit on the left are Amsterdam Forcing. Now, there's not two neat rows here because I think after I sowed these, there was quite heavy rain, and I think the seeds got washed down into the corner down there. Because I don't think this bed is quite level. The soil in the bed wasn't quite level, so they got washed down into the corner. So we've got sort of 3 decent-ish rows and then a bit of a muddle in the corner. But on the whole, I'm happy with these carrots, and as I said, much better than last year. Okay, so these are my herbs. A bit of a mixed bag. I've got the coriander and the dill that coming up nicely. The sage has taken its time, but it is coming up now. No mint. I think I probably should have started that in the greenhouse. I have now started some more in the greenhouse yesterday, so hopefully that will come on soon. Basil and thyme. The thyme is coming through, looks pretty healthy. The basil doesn't look as healthy, but again, I think that's another one I should have probably started in the greenhouse. But you know, some of it is coming through now. My parsley looks quite nice. I might pot some of these on and just, you know, dot them around a bit. And then I thinned out my rocket, so I've got 6 rockets left in there, and they're coming on. They do grow slowly, don't they, rocket? I was surprised. I thought I'd have a bit more by now, but obviously I'll wait for them to mature a little bit before I start taking anything. And the strawberries, this is a bit of a disaster area. to be honest. Now, the strawberries I have at home are the same varieties as these. I've got some Cambridge favourites down here on the right, which seem to be faring a little bit better, and then I've got the marshmallow variety on the two rows on the left. Now, with the marshmallow, out of 10 plants, I've only got 3 that have come on. Now, there's either one of 2 reasons for this. Either these planters are too shallow, so the roots don't like it, or I left them too long before I planted them. The ones I planted at home, I planted the same day as they arrived in the post. But these ones were planted about 3 days later, so I don't know if that affects things. I thought the dormant runners would be okay, without being planted straight away, so maybe it is just too shallow for them. But saying that, 4 out of 5 of the Cambridge favourite have come on very nicely. There might actually only be 4 in there. It looks, the way I've spaced it, I think there is actually only 4 in there, so all 4 of those. I did order some more from a magazine, but nothing's come yet. So now we have the Brassicas. These have come on quite nicely. They're doing fairly well. They all look pretty healthy. The white fly have had a go at the white cabbage a little bit, but it doesn't seem too bad. I've rubbed them off, and the leaves are a little bit curled in a couple of places, but that's it. A couple of the leaves on the red cabbages have been munched a bit. I went through them yesterday, and there were caterpillars all over them, so I've taken those off. A couple of them were really big caterpillars too. I've taken those off. The sprouts are unaffected, really. So we see how they go. I'm pretty pleased with these at the moment. I haven't killed them off. And I have taken another idea from Terry, from one of his latest videos, and I've planted some beetroot in between these. Okay, another mixed bag here. Potatoes. First earlies are doing okay. That's just the first row. Not all of them have grown. Sort of in the first 2 tubs, only looks like half of them have grown. The third tub up there, looks like they've all grown and they're coming on okay. Remember, these were planted very late. All of these were planted on the 25th of April, so I was late getting these in, purely because I didn't have the pots and the compost. So, these are the Pentland Javelin variety. The second earlies, which were planted on the same day, the Charlottes, they all seem to be doing a bit better. But the main crop ones, I don't know much about potatoes, but the main crop don't seem to have come through as much. So we keep an eye on them. They were planted on the same day. These are Maris Pipers. Okay, so at the beginning of the week I got my sweet corn in. Pretty pleased with this. Looking forward to this because everybody on the site's raving about how good sweet corn is when it's picked fresh. So looking forward to trying this later on in the year. Okay, so now we've got 2 rows of parsnips. This is a shallow bed and it just goes into the ground underneath, so I was a bit worried about growing the parsnips in here after what happened to my carrots last year. But I was thinning these out yesterday, and the roots seem to have gone down a long way already, so looking forward to seeing how these get on. So the first row, the smaller row, they are hollow crown parsnips, and the second row here, the larger ones, are Albion F1s, if that means anything to anyone. This is when it starts to get a bit unruly now. This bed is desperate need of a weed. These are my red barons, 2 rows of red barons that I planted from seed So hopefully these will be ready later in the year to make up for the red onions that I lost, that went to seed. Well, I didn't lose them, I still ate them, but you know what I mean, they didn't mature fully. So I've got now 2 globe artichokes that I've planted on. This one was planted on a few weeks ago and it's coming on very nicely. This one was planted on early last week and looks like it's doing okay. Lots of weeds, and my asparagus, which I'm really pleased with. So there are 7 crowns in here and I've got 5 of them come up. I mean, a few weeks ago there was absolutely no signs of life at all, and I thought I'd just, killed them. But then I saw a couple of shoots and then they've shot up, so really pleased with these. Obviously no harvesting, leave them in there, let them mature, go to seed, and then hopefully come back stronger next year. So I've got some courgettes in pots here. This is mainly because these will be going to other people. The smaller ones on the end, they are the ones that got nipped by the frost that we had a couple of weeks ago. Can't believe the temperatures we've had this past week. That, it was only 2 weeks ago when I had ice on my car. It's unbelievable, but that's what happened. The larger ones are the ones that I planted on more recently, and I do have a fruit coming on this one, first one of the season. And then behind them in the bed are my courgettes that I'm keeping. This one I'm so pleased with. This got absolutely annihilated by the frost, and so did this one here. But for some reason this one's come back really strong. This one's still struggling a bit, but there's lots of new growth on it. So these ones are the Astia, these are the green varieties, and then these 2 here are the yellow varieties, golden something or something gold, we'll find out, I can't remember, but they're a yellow variety. And then just beyond them, I haven't finished the netting on this one, but just beyond them are my 2 squash that also got nipped a bit by that frost, and again the one over the back is coming back stronger than the one at the front, so I'm not sure if that's just coincidence or I don't know or something else, but maybe it's a bit more protected from the wind because it's next to the greenhouse, I don't know. So these are winter squash. I do have a lot more to plant on, as you've seen before, but will go in pots underneath a trellis eventually. So these are coming on okay. These ones are going to stay here though. And then beyond that I have my kale, 2 rows of kale, and then some mixed coloured beetroot at the end there. I do like beetroot, I can't get enough of it. So and I've never tried the yellow beetroot or any other colours, so I'm looking forward to trying them. Okay, so into the greenhouse we go. And right, we'll start at this end, I think. So I've got a field pumpkin here that Terry King kindly sent me. So that's a 5th pumpkin plant that I've got growing, that will need to go in somewhere, but I'm thinking this one will be a little bit larger than the others, so I'm thinking of putting this somewhere on its own. Maybe getting a sort of a 60 or 70 litre pot and popping it in there. We'll see. Then I've got some more of the Joe Mills Roma tomatoes here. These ones are probably going to stay in here, at least probably half of them. I will eventually stick the others out, but I'm going to keep some in here and then put some out and sort of compare what fruit I get between these ones in here and the ones out there. So this is a bit of a mash at the moment. The far right corner, I've got a couple more red cabbage, and then a couple more white cabbage. I don't really know what I'm going to do with them. I don't have space, so I might give them away. And then I have 6 cucumber plants, maybe 7 or 8 cucumber plants. I've got Telegraph and Market Maker. Again, I'm going to probably keep 1 or 2 in here, and then put the rest out. So they'll be starting to be hardened off this week while I build the trellis for them. And then once I've built the trellis, I can stick them out. And then I've got my aubergines, which I'm really pleased with. Last year I bought 4 aubergine plants from the garden centre, and I stuck them outside because I didn't have a greenhouse, and they lived and they produced a few aubergines. Between the 4 of them, I think I got maybe 5 aubergines, which at the time I was really pleased with. But I'm getting a bit more serious this year, so I've got Black Beauty, and I have got 8 of them. And I've also got Bonica, and I believe I might have 8 of those as well. Yes, I do. So I've got 16 aubergine plants, and they will be eventually going into these 10-litre pots. They're okay in the 1.5 litre pots at the moment, but I need to clear some of the bench space, and they are, I think maybe most of them, maybe 6 or 8 of those are going to be staying in here, because I really want to grow some nice nice aubergines this year. Okay, so up here we've got a few more sweet million tomato plants. These ones are going to be staying in here. And then at the back there I've got Moneymaker, which is a different variety again. I haven't got very many of those, but they were just a free packet of seeds that came with the magazine, so I thought I'd just grow a few and see what happens. And then I've got a bench full of chilies. So I've got some from my Uncle John, who got me a gift set for Christmas for growing chilies. So these 5 at the end here are jalapenos, and then up this end I've got 5 cayennes, and then I've also got a pot of habaneros that I haven't planted up yet, but they're coming on okay as well. I think I've got 3 of those. And then in the middle I've got 8 Anaheim chilies, and they are again, that's another free seed packet from a magazine, those, and they're coming on really well actually. And then finally I've had my Cape gooseberries come on. These were planted all the way back in March, I think. Oh no, 2nd of April, almost. 2nd of April, and they didn't germinate, and I left the pots there. I was going to throw them out. I left the pots with the seeds in this tray, and they took maybe 7 weeks to germinate. They eventually come through, and I potted them on because I wanted to get rid of the pots. The pots were getting a bit manky because they were those fibre pots. So I I potted them on, and you can see the difference because I potted these 2 smaller ones on 2 days ago, and this larger one was potted on about a week ago. So just 5 days makes a lot of difference. Then yes, I went to the garden centre, and despite the fact that I've already got a full greenhouse, I bought some pepper plants, because actually, have I shown you my peppers? I don't know where my peppers have gone.
A few moments later.
Oh, yes I do. They're hiding down low. So, right, back to where we were. I bought some pepper plants because I'd only sown a few pepper seeds, and I only had one variety. and we do get through a lot of peppers as a family, so only having sort of 4 or 5 pepper plants, all of one variety, is not really going to do us. So I did buy some at the garden centre that were grown already. So I've got the Italian long sweet pepper, I've got a couple of them, I've got a couple of bell boys, and I've got a couple of the snack peppers that I grew last year that turned out really nice. So that's them for peppers. And then down here are the ones that I have grown from seed. These are Etude orange. So I've never grown that variety before. We're looking forward to that. Shows you the difference. This is the basil that I sowed in the greenhouse, and this was sown after the basil outside. So it does make a difference, I think, and I'm going to sow maybe some more regular basil in here, because this is cinnamon basil. This is what Joyce at What I Grow NL had. Someone in America, I think, sent it to her, and I watched one of her videos, and I was intrigued by what cinnamon basil was. So I went online, found some seeds and grew it, and I tell you what, it smells absolutely amazing. So oh god, I can the smell coming off that just from rubbing that one leaf. Oh, it's really good. And you do get a hint of cinnamon in the smell as well, so I'm looking forward to using that at Christmas time. Then I've got, to finish off, some celery. This hasn't been doing very well at all. I grew lots of celery, sorry, I sowed lots of celery, and really only one pot came on. So then I sowed some cutting celery, which has germinated and is growing, so hopefully that will come on. Then we've got the habanero, and what I'm really upset about, and I'm sorry Terry, but the pot on the left is a giant pumpkin seed that Terry sent me, Terry King. That was sown on the 21st of April, and I've not got anything out of that one. So I sowed the other giant pumpkin seed he sent me on the 16th of May, and I haven't got anything out of that one either at the moment, so doesn't look good on that front, I'm afraid, Terry, but the field pumpkin at least has germinated. Okay, so I sowed some mint yesterday, which will be growing in here, and I sowed some more lettuce. I've got Valmain in there and Little Gem, because those little gems have turned out really well, so definitely growing some more. And when they germinate, I've sowed them quite thickly actually, and when they germinate I'll prick them out into their module trays and then grow them on from there. And finally, down low, the final variety of tomato, which were only sown on the 16th of April. These are another gift from a family member, along with the cosmic purple carrots. These are Tigerella tomatoes. Apparently these are striped tomatoes, so looking forward to seeing how these turn out. These were potted up yesterday, so they've only been in these pots for a day, so I'm looking for these to come on quite quickly now. And with that, I think that's about it. So like I said, it's been a while since we've done sort of a walk around. It might even be the first time I've ever done it. I can't remember. So hope you enjoyed it, and you know, I'm really pleased with how everything's coming on. I've got a lot more going on this year than I did last year, and the plot looks completely different to what it did last year. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's going. If you could let me know any advice you've got regarding anything, but particularly the garlic, because I don't want to be leaving that in if I should be pulling it, because they're in compost and it does stay quite moist, so I don't want them cracking and then going mouldy. So with that, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.